go. There you go. I'm recording this video as well, so I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel. Last time I did this, there was a little bit of a technical snafu, so you couldn't see the software that I was working on as far as that goes. At least not all of it anyway. So I'm sorry about that. But hopefully with this system the way it is, it'll be fine. The lighting in here is not the best right now. I'm working on that, but that'll be just down the road. I think what I'm going to start doing these Foto Dono lives is on about most Saturdays at this point. It's not going to be a set in stone yet, so I'll try to come up with the schedule that I could maybe post. And so if anybody wants to tune in and watch, that'll be awesome. So that way you guys can see it like a regular channel. I'm probably going to do it. I'm going to reduce it down to every 2 weeks because, you know, there's only so much Foto Dono that I could take. So hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy it as well. And according to my Facebook indicator over there that I'm looking over to my left, it looks like I got one person watching me. I think it's me. Maybe I'm the one watching me. Not sure all this stuff works out. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get going with the talky talk stuff. Thanks, guys. As most of you are aware of, you know, things have been kind of interesting or challenging. Of course, it's been challenging for mostly everybody. I appreciate those who helped out. I also appreciate the fact that some of you have decided to help out other folks. That's really awesome, and I think that's really a very, very great thing. It's really nice to see when people kind of come together and kind of show support for one another. So that's been kind of nice to see, of course, out there in the world. So it's always good. A couple of things. I've been working on some other online updates with some of the things that are coming up. Just to kind of give you an idea, let me pull that up over here so I can kind of read them off to you at the same time. Is that I'm going to be doing I'm not going to do any more of the Foto Dono during the afternoon, at least for right now. Since I'm back at work, things are going to be slightly different as far as the timetable goes. There'll be other events during the day, but they're not going to be Foto Dono. It won't be Foto Dono live type of thing. So there'll be that going on. But I am going to continue right now, at least until probably mid-June, an evening with Foto Dono. And I'll be doing several topics, and I'll be posting those on there as well. I'll be doing on May 11th, which is this Monday, I'll be doing photo editing with Photoshop. On May 18th, it'll be astrophotography. I'll finally be getting around to that. I'm going to be doing some landscape photography, doing a little Q&A with that. I'll do a little bit of a presentation like I usually do, but I also will do like a little bit of a Q&A for that. It's like with all these things. Somebody asked if I could do the lighting basics again. Sure. These things are not going to be like the same. There'll be some of the similar content that I did before in the previous sessions, but there'll be some new stuff as well too. So it won't be the same old. And I'm also going to do a little thing about macro photography on June 15th. So basically, these are all Mondays starting at 6 o'clock. At least that should be the time frame. I'll record those separately, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm also going to make these videos. At least try to see if I can make them available on my Patreon account, so you guys can access there for whoever wants to subscribe on there. Speaking of that, again, I want to thank a special shout out to Margaret and Dave. You guys were very helpful, especially while I was furloughed, and I am more than grateful for the support. Thank you so much. It really meant a lot. I'm going to continue the Patreon account. Again, you know, that's not my only bread and butter as far as that goes. I wasn't really going to count on that, but I'm using that as basically kind of help me continue on. So I want to be able to do more of these online things, more of these online sessions. So I'll be exploring that down the road as far as that goes. But for anybody who tunes in for the Foto Dono, an evening with Foto Dono, I'll be basically posting those. I'll save them to my Google Drive, and you'll be able to access those. But if you're on a Patreon, anyone's a Patreon subscriber should be able to access any of that stuff. Even if you do it for $1, you'll be able to access them. At least that's the plan. I really haven't done that yet to see how it kind of works out. So just give me some time and patience. I'll promise that stuff will be ready. Speaking for the couple of Patreon subscribers, the postcards are supposed to be arriving next week, so those will be going out as soon as I get them. I didn't hear a favorite word from either of you, so I will be just sending a postcard with ever loving thanks. So I appreciate that. Let's see what else is coming up. Let me pull the schedule up here real quick. So right now, what's coming up, at least in the immediate future, right now, there's other things, but I can't publish them or talk about them quite yet. There's a couple of things that are still coming up. For those who are interested, we're as in my director of education had over at Johnson, we're still going to continue doing online presentations for right now. We're not doing anything in-house yet, mainly because, for the regard of overabundance of caution as far as that goes. So we'll continue doing some online things. We got the one that's coming up on May 11th because people that requested to have another one is the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark Trace, number 3. So that was kind of cool. How my fingers kind of blended in there. Let's try that. Trace, number 3. There we go. 3. East Coast, West. I don't know how that all works. Anyway, the idea is that we'll be able to do something like that. I'm going to be doing online camera basics. I'm still going to be doing it weekly, but that's not going to be for too much longer. But I'm going to reduce that to probably about once a month. Because it really hasn't taken off as well as much as I would have liked it to have done. So, but right now it's still available. So I do have a couple of people who are going to be attending the thing on Wednesday. Some new camera owners, some people who wanted some help as well too, or wanted to start off with their own photography stuff. So I'll be doing that, and that's the online camera basics. That's going to be Wednesdays at 6:00. Again, you can go to my website, you go to Johnson's website. Either way, it takes you to the same stuff, and you'll be able to sign up there either way. Right now, the other thing too that's coming up, for those who are interested, I'm doing the Blue Hour photo walk review. Basically, I'm be doing some online review. We're going to do a little online review of some of the pictures of people who shot during the Blue Hour. The Blue Hour, for those who, who are unaware of what the Blue Hour is. The Blue Hour is that time period right before the sun rises or the sun sets. When the sun sets, hang on one second. Let me pull it back up here. When the sun sets, what's happening, or the sun rises, right before, there's a little bit of time in there. They call it the blue hour. So before the light, it's just like the very, very beginning parts of the light of the sun coming through through the atmosphere. So right now, only the blue wavelengths can get through. So they're getting all that type of thing right there. So you're getting this nice little darkish, bluish, purple kind of colors in the sky. Most of us are used to seeing it, but it doesn't really last that long. The blue hour is kind of a little of a misnomer, and it kind of changes over the time depending upon our position and orbit and all that other stuff. But it's not that it's never an hour. It's like the golden hour that we call the photographers like when they shoot with the sun just setting, and you get that little bit of a yellow color with everything. So it doesn't quite last as long as all that. You really have to kind of work on it. Technically, if you look at PhotoPills, which is an app that I use to help me plan some of my excursions and stuff, PhotoPills shows the blue hour as civil twilight. Basically, you've got astronomical twilight, you got nautical twilight, you got civil twilight, and then you got the golden hour, which kind of starts there. Now, basically, astronomical twilight is where you can see the stars. Nautical twilight, you can still see some of the bright stars. Then you get into civil twilight, which basically most of the stars, except for maybe a couple of bright points, are still visible in the sky. And then, of course, by the time golden hour hits, most of that stuff is kind of washed out. There might be, if Venus is in the sky, you might still see a little bit of that. Like if there's a full moon, you still be able, of course, see that as well, too. But, or crescent moon or whatever. But as long as you got clear skies, you should be able to see some of this stuff. So that's the thing about that. So the idea is, that's how it all kind of works. And then, of course, the sun rises. And the sunrise basically is when the sun starts to go up, actually come above the horizon. You're around the circumference of the Earth. Right around here's the Earth, and the sun kind of rising right above it, right there, sticking its little head up. So the idea is when it's doing that, then the sun's rising. Then when it comes up, you're then into daytime time. So golden hour only lasts roughly, again, it varies from like 30 to 40 minutes, depending upon again, positions and stuff. It doesn't really last that long. None of this stuff does. That hour is a lie. Anyway, let me go back to the live page. Let's see. Oh, nobody's watching me now. Ah, well, that's how it works. So anyway, now I'm going to go over some couple of tips and techniques. Oh, by the way, you'll see in the description of this Foto Dono Live is that I'm going to be showing you'll see some of the links I was talking about for some of these things, like somewhere you can sign up for the classes and stuff like that. So anything like that. Let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. Well, it'll come to me. So one of the things I want to kind of show you is because some of the things that the photo review. That's what I was talking about. Sorry, I got distracted with Blue Hour, because the Blue Hour photo reviews, we're doing an online photo review. So anybody who's shot any photos, if they want to be part of the review, you can upload your photos to the meetup page for that. Again, if you can always click on the links that are in those websites are there. That'll take you directly to it. You can either send me your photo if you want to, or you can use Zoom if you want to, because we'll be doing this through Zoom as well. You can share your screen, or you can upload them to a meetup page, the Low Light Photo Group meetup page, if you want to do that. All right, so I'm going to start sharing my screen again. Let's see how well this works this time. Come on. Come on. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. There we go. All right, so this is part of the image I created from a couple of panoramics, a couple of shots I turned into a panoramic here. So you should be able to see this on the screen, and according to Facebook, it's going up there nicely. So, and you should see me floating around in the corner on the top right over there. So yeah, and you can see my little mousey going across the screen. Yay, so that's good. Oh, wait, I could do this now. I forgot about that. I can spotlight. See if it does that. Oh, let's try it again. Hang on 1 second. I don't know. We'll see if it kicks over on Facebook, see what it does. Ah, there we go. It turns it into a little white. That's really cool. I like that. All right, so let's go into Lightroom, shall we? Let's close that out. We don't need that. And let's close that out. We don't need that there. No, let's just see that. There we go. All right, so let's go to Lightroom. So I tried doing this before, and combine these two, because the problem with this particular one right here, let me move this around. I'm moving a zoom bar around here, so just bear with me 1 second. Close that out. There we go. So I tried doing this little panoramic feature before. Unfortunately, it didn't quite turn out the way I would have liked it. For one of the things, I don't know if you can see it on the screen that's on there on Facebook there. There's a little bit of a disjointed effort on there. And there was a technique which I totally spaced out on in Photoshop, which actually kind of fixed it out. Now, the reason why there's a little bit of it there, and I'll kind of see if I can't get it to do it as quickly as I can, is that in Lightroom, one of the cool things that you do in Lightroom with most things is that you should, and I do have more than enough coverage. You're supposed to have at least about 30 to 40% of overlap. So on the image right here that you see in front of you, there's also this image right here. And there's more than enough coverage that includes all that stuff. Now, it says it doesn't have it, so I think it does, but maybe it doesn't. So the idea is if I try to do a photo merge on this with Lightroom, and I go in here and I go into photo, go into photo merge and go a panoramic, one of the things it's going to ask me is like, how do I want to handle it? No matter how I handle it, it says it's unable to merge them. Now, normally you need to use a little bit more than 2, but 2, I've done it before, 2 before, and it's not a problem. There was enough coverage on that. I'm not trying to make a ginormous panoramic. I just want to just have these two so I can have some side by side. Because when I shot with my lens, which is a 12 to 80 Pro from Olympus, which is effectively 24 millimeters, it doesn't give me enough of a width. Now, I could also buy another lens or rent another lens that gives me the coverage, but you could usually easily just do it right here. And no matter which version I choose, whether I have to do spherical, cylindrical, perspective, it just doesn't do it. So the idea is, well, what am I going to do? Oh, crap, what can I do? Well, you could do this in Photoshop, which is really kind of cool. Next thing you want to do is, if you can't do that, you want to go to where it says you want to edit, and you want to edit, I'm going from Lightroom. That's basically what I'm doing, is I want to go from Lightroom, I want to open up as layers in Photoshop. And I've already done that, so I'm going to go to Photoshop, so it saves you some time, is that it also creates layers. I'm going to turn off these ones right here because that's the finished one right there. So, oops, I turned everything off. Oh, no. So it creates these little layers. I'm going to disable this. So basically, I got these two images that were put in here, right? So those are the two images that I loaded up. Now, what I did was I also tried to do what's called auto align. Now, auto align, if you got both of your layers selected, it should line them up. Unfortunately, it didn't even do that because there's not enough for it to figure it out. It should be under edit right here, auto align layers. So if you have so if you're trying to create your own little panoramic and it's not helping out, or you can't do it, or you want more control of it, what you can do is you go what's called under auto align layers. Keep in mind, you still also have the ability to do photo merge. Where do they put it on here again? I always have to look. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yep. There we go. Okay, there it is. It's under automate photo because they move it around every time. Well, I said they move it around all the time, but it's always in a slightly different spot than I remember. Since I do it mainly in Lightroom, I don't really remember necessarily to connect to it. So there's photo merge right here in Photoshop. So automate, you could do that. You can try to create a panoramic if you want to. That's one of the options when you click on it. But again, the problem is that what I run into is that I run into the same problem, whether I choose auto, whatever. And if I say, use the layers, it just gives me the same problem as far as it goes. So it's not one of those things that was very helpful. It got me the same response. So what I ended up having to do is I try to do what's called auto align these layers. Try to do it myself, because what Photo Merge does is it auto aligns the layers. When I try to do that, it couldn't figure it out again, because even if I do auto, and you can redo, if you do it the first time, you get like a vignette, you can click that on to remove it. So, but I didn't get that. I clicked that, and it says, again, this is the problem is running to, and that's why you can't do the photo merge for it. So that's fine. So basically what I did was I eyeballed it. I stuck them together, and I tried to eyeball the thing. So if I'm looking on this thing right here, let me zoom up. When I eyeballed it, you see I got this line that's running through it. Now, if I was to print it, that line would be very visible. Be a very big pain in my tuchus to try to get this, because there's some slight variations on there. But what's kind of cool with Photoshop is that it does something that's called auto blend the layers. So for instance, if you look at this, auto blend layers. So what it does is then once you click that, and I'm going to re-enable these layer masks here because that's what it did already, is it creates this nice little option right there. And you can see right there, it basically created a little, and it blended for me instead of me having to do all the grunt work to make it all kind of seamless, as it were. Let me zoom up on there again. You can see that line that I was complaining about is pretty much gone. No matter what I look at, it's still gone. There might be some slight here, but no one's ever going to notice that. It's too. I'm looking at this at 100%, and that's a small section of it because mostly everyone's going to be looking at the big stuff right there. So again, what I did was, in order to fix that, I again cropped it. Let me zoom back a little bit here and show you what I'm talking about, because this was the area right here, because I made the canvas slightly bigger. I should have started with that. So one of the things I did was to get both of them on there. You can create a canvas if you want to, make it slightly bigger. It works for me. You don't have to do that. It's not a critical thing, but I like it so I can see outside the page that I'm working on. And then what I did was I went and I cropped it. And then, after I finished the crop on that, I created what's called a smart object. And what I did with here is I went to filter under layer, and I created a smart object, which is this guy right here. And then you would click on convert to smart object, or you could do like this. Excuse me. You go into filter and you go convert for smart filters, and then it'll automatically take this layer and convert it into a smart filter. And then what I did is I applied 2 filters. I took it into camera raw. And then once you do that, you can actually open up camera raw again and look at it again. They will apply for committing the filter parameters, which again, I'm not going to do. I've already done it. So I've done there. Nope, hang on. It's doing some thinking. So I can go back and I can look at it again, do whatever I want, make some changes, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to do that. Same thing with Aurora. I can go back and do that. This takes up a little more time to process it. Right now, the file, just to kind of give you an idea of file management. I don't know if you guys can see it on that screen. Oops, where's my annotation? It disappeared on me. There we go. So if you look over here, under this annotation part right here, you can see it now, I think. Keeps disappearing in that little red dot. So the idea, if you look right here on the screen, the file size as it stands is we're already at 1.3 gigabytes versus 177 megabytes. That's basically taking all these layers and making that stuff. Now the thing is, it did a pretty good job at figuring it did, layer and stuff like that, but I wasn't quite happy with the way this overall looked. So what I did was I took this layer, made another copy of it, and then I basically then did what's called lighten on here. And when I did that, it took it from, because you can see that makes it too dark. Lighten basically just lighten up the whole thing, but which is nice, which is what I wanted. See I fixed those vignettes too, a little bit cleared up. But the thing is, I wanted to kind of fix up some of these little areas right here. And that's what I was kind of working on right there. I basically created a mask, and I just went to my paintbrush, and I basically was starting to paint over this to make this a little bit less. So I get the thing right there. Got a nice little flare effect moon. I got a nice little panoramic, and it all worked out pretty well for me. I'm very happy with that. So once I'm done with that, I just basically click on, at this particular point, since I went from Lightroom to Photoshop, if I click on save, now I don't have to do that. I could have just closed out and it's saved automatically. But if I do that, and I could have also flattened it all, and it would take a little bit less time to do it all in. But I usually save it anyway. I got enough storage space, so if I really, really want to, I could always go back, but you don't have to. But once it's done saving, I can close this out, and then we go back into Lightroom. You'll see the file there. You close it out. Go back into Lightroom. And you can see that's the final result right there. It's a lot cleaner than this, I think, overall. Wasn't happy with the coloring. That worked out so much better. So, and again, I don't have to worry about this little pesky little line that was showing up before on the other ones too. See, I did not so good of a job cleaning it up there. You can see it's very noticeable right there. This was the first one I did. Then I try to clean it up. You can see I get a little bit of it there, and a little bit there. Especially once it's kind of cool, once you get everything done, you could always do a little experiment, lighten it up and see if you see it just pop up, and it's not even popping up now. Well, maybe there's a little bit of it there, but not too much. So that worked out. Larry, I say Larry, I just saw you just stopping by. That's cool. So you can see if I go to here and I lighten this up right here, give it a second or two, lighten it up. You can see there's a much more noticeable line that's digging right through it. So sometimes these layers are not going to line up, and photo mergers are going to work. It's not going to do the job you want. So the idea is I get to play around with that and kind of clean that up a little bit, and it works out pretty well for me. I've been very happy with the results of this one. It did a pretty decent job. Considering this was this was right at the tail end, right before it turned into Civil Twilight. This is at the very end with Nautical Twilight before it turned into Civil Twilight. So it's kind of right there around the blue hour. kind of give you an idea of how the camera recorded all this stuff. This is basically how the camera saw this stuff. So you can see right here, it's kind of kind of blue. There's light that's hitting here, but it's being reflected off of the beach and stuff. But you can see the light's really powerful. And I was just trying to, I didn't want to lose this information right here. If you look on the histogram, I didn't go too far to get to the black. So I wanted to keep some of that information in there. Kind of give you an idea. This is when, if I lighten up everything, that's what happens right there. So you're getting all this in there. So it's not so great there. But for those who might be interested in, let me go back to the library. Kind of give you kind of a brief rundown of the timeline. Oop, sorry. Back to all photographs. All right, let's put it back where it belongs. There we go. So kind of give you the timeline. This is like when I first started talking about nautical twilight. So if you look right here, you can see a little bit of the stars still in the picture, which is kind of cool. This was shot at, in order to get this, I had to shoot this at 8,000. If you look real closely too, I also got a little bit of a lens flare from the moon. So I'm not sure why that's happening in there. There might be some sort of thing in there, or it's just something just caught it off the top. You can see as I move through as we're getting closer towards morning, again, we're getting to at the tail end of nautical / civil. So you can still see some of the stars right there. This was shot at 800 ISO versus 8,000 ISO. But I really wanted to have the light from the moon kind of paint the whole entire beach right there. I wanted to have all that. And again, it was just to kind of see what it would all kind of look like. You can see the moon. You're never going to get a shot of the moon and this in the same. You literally would have to shoot the moon first and do this, and then you'd have to blend them in Photoshop or something similar like that to get them all to kind of come together. For shots of the moon, it's not going to happen. Now the lens I had, just to kind of give you an idea, the lens was not going to do any justice to the moon as far as that goes. To kind of give you an idea, this is pretty much. Let's see. Let's back it up. See, that's how dark I had to shoot this thing in order to get the moon, at least something in there. And this is at 1/800th of a second at f11. And I'm moving down. This is f22. So this is at 3200 ISO. At 3200 ISO, I shot this at f22 at 1/800th of a second in order to get any of the moon. You can see it's not even quite a full moon. Full moon was the night before, so you're getting a little bit of it off there. So you can see there's a little bit of, it's not, you're never going to get this with the landscape. It's like shooting into the sun. It's just it's super bright. You're never going to, you'd have to literally shoot this and then put that back in there. But the problem is I like that little bit of flare. So, that's, well, not the problem. That's what I like. I like that little bit of a flare in it. So anyway, let's go back to this. So you can see the moon. It's kind of nice. I like the little flare thing right there. It's nice. Works out really well for me. I'm going to get a little bit of reflectivity off of there. Now we're getting into closer towards the blue hour. It's starting to get into it. There you get blue hours really into it. It's a little bit later, so you can see the light starting to creep across there. This was shot at 1/5 of a second over here at 3.2. This was shot at 2 seconds in order to get any of this stuff right here. The other one was shot at 1 second right here. Now, when you get a little bit later down the time frame, you can see I make some adjustments again. I'm down to 200, shooting at 5.0 and 1/250th of a second. And you get this nice little rainbow effect right there, which works out really well, which is kind of cool. And of course, you get the moon over there. Now, again, the moon is, because according to physics, I thought, and I was reminded that was an incorrect falsehood of an optical illusion. As you get closer to the horizon, the moon is slightly magnified, and that's not entirely true. Apparently, the moon would still be the same size no matter what lens you used. As long that type of thing. If you use a different focal length, the moon would appear to be larger if you use a longer telephoto, but it would not appear to be larger because you could have shot it there, shot it there, apparently it would actually still be the same. Stupid physics. Anyway, so the idea is, I wanted to get the moon in this particular shot. Now, you may say, well, how come it's not so? Well, it's because it's much, much brighter out. And what's happening is the sun is coming up over the horizon, and it's basically canceling that part out right there. I'm still getting a little bit of a wash on it. I would have to shoot this at a much higher f-stop, but again, I would start to lose some of this stuff right in there. I also made a black and white version of it as well, too, which looked out pretty good. Again, the moon's kind of but it's not the central part. It just adds to the ambiance of the whole thing. And then we jump over to here. Here's like another panoramic I created. You can see the sun has come up considerably. We're now basically into the golden hour. And you can see the moon is basically a little bit back right in there. So you got that. This is still at 800 ISO. That works out fine for me there. And I did a pretty good job. The Photo Merge did a pretty good job with that. This one, however, the clouds came out. No. The clouds didn't come up on this one. What I ended up doing with this one is that, and I'll show you the difference between the two. I thought they were still in there, but I guess they're not. So here it is without the clouds. Here it is with the clouds, without. And, I didn't really care for this one without the clouds. Some people might say, you still like it, but it doesn't really do anything for me. It's got too much what I call negative space up there. It needs something up there. So I basically found a cloud that I liked. And I ended up using Luminar 4's AI sky replacement. I did use their stock cloud on this one. I'm not exactly excited about it, but it works out good for me and I like it. I did a little bit of blending and I tried to make it more of an artsy one by adding a little bit of noise and whatnot to it. And like I said, it works out pretty well for me and I'm quite happy with it. So it worked out really, really nice. I did some light blending here and there, light lightening up here and there and stuff like that. But like I said, overall it worked out pretty well. I also made a black and white version of it, as well. So it worked out okay for that. So anyway, let's see. How long have I been jibber jabbering now? Let's take a look. Let's go back to Zoom. Stop the share. Let's see. It's about 30 minutes. So I'm about right. So basically, as you can see right there, this is pretty much kind of like my workflow. I basically start with Lightroom, work into Photoshop, and I try to work some edits in there. I hope, showing you some of the things that I do helps you with your editing techniques. And hopefully it also inspires you to do some stuff. If you're interested, if you want to share some of your, blue hour photos. Now, blue hour photo is not necessarily sunset or sunrise. Blue hour is basically in that time period before everything shifts from the blue spectrum to the more warmer spectrum, to the yellows and the oranges. So like I said, it's that little bit of window of time so that you can shoot it in. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, I'm going to have to go into another one that I can show you. To go back to the screen here. There we go. And let's go to here. We're going to go into, let's go back to here. So this is technically in the blue hour right here. So the sun hasn't rised yet, so it's coming up. And basically, this is it after the sunrise. The sun was basically not even, I forget the exact time, but it's like 20 minutes after sunrise right there. So you can see there's a significant difference between blue hour and the golden hour as far as that goes. Well, this is after the golden hour. The sun's come up, but you kind of get the idea. I had to burn this down. This was like, I forget how fat. So F32, 22, something like that at 4,000ths of a second or something like that. What was really helpful with this one is the sky was kind of really lots of clouds. So that really helped out, especially with that too. That helped out a lot. Nice little low-lying cloud fog, roll it in, which is kind of cool. This was shot at a much slower shutter speed. I forget what it was. I want to say, based on light trails, about 10, 20 seconds or something like that. All right, so let's go back to stop share. So anyway, the idea is that's basically what I'm working on. And so if you guys are interested in sharing some of that stuff, check back with us on Tuesday at 6. we'll be doing something through Zoom. If you go to, again, my website, or if you go to Meetup, you'll see the link there where you can click on it and you can get all that information that you want if you want to join us through Zoom, as far as that goes. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's results. And so we'll see how that is. Thank you all very much. Thanks for your time and your patience. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thanks, Larry, for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I hope it helps out. I'm going to do another Foto Dono Live next week on Saturday. That should be the sorry, I can't do the math in my head for the dates and time. Come on. That should be on the 16th. I'm planning to do that probably around 3 o'clock. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. I don't think I have anything else planned that day, so I'll be doing 3 o'clock. I'm probably going to skip a week because that's Memorial Weekend, so it's probably a good time to start the every other week. And I'll try to keep that up. So I'll be doing probably Foto Dono Live right now every other week. And then until mid-June, I'll be doing an evening with Foto Dono, where it's a little more technically oriented. Again, you can ask me any questions you want. And there'll be other little online ventures coming up throughout the month. Please stay tuned. And again, if you want to help support some of my endeavors, for the Foto Dono part of it, you can always go to my Patreon account, or you can leave me a tip through PayPal. Or you can also, again, just share, like, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Again, I'm going to post this video on my YouTube channel. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. And I appreciate everything. It's been one of those interesting times, of course. And hopefully we are coming out the back end of it all. But we'll have to wait and see. Thanks, guys. Bye.